never came down since. And when it was 25 cents a gallon here, it was 50 cents a liter in Canada. So other nations have always paid a much higher price for fuel. Yeah, but
Just memorize these phrases. Arunas, England. Bratislav, Moscow. Aidas, Lithuania. And Tariel Kapanadze.
Yeah, right. That's what he says. We want to give something to the people, especially Americans.
The right translation is we want to give something to the people, and we have to give something to the people. 5% of humanity keep us in their pockets. You can live, but you cannot breathe. Well, you're going to be working anyhow, so there is nothing wrong with us working for 5% of the people that owe everything possible in this world. So when you lose the job, you don't suffer. It is you who suffer. So what is the biggest fear of these kings of the world? They wake up one pretty morning and they are us. How many suicides it would create? They don't know how it is to be us. They don't want to be us.
Хорошо.
Прямо только я боюсь, опять ком полетит шайбами.
Тебе надо собрать всю энергию в излучение на феррит. Тебе нужны ферритовые кольца. The video follows of that experiment, and you will see basically what is happening inside. We are converting traditional conventional electricity to cold electricity and converting it back, but on certain circumstances we don't short circuit after a high voltage ends. We make a capacitive plus inductance on the ends, and between that we just have one wire electricity like Tesla did. Please see all these patents and read carefully, because this is information is in their patents, not directly in code, but it is there. And of course, after you make a first wire electricity on higher voltage, you can charge capacitors over two diodes connected into a single wire. Also see Joe Tiff, Joe Renger for ideas. We will get to these ideas very quickly. And when you have this, and when you discharge our caduceus coil, which is not traditional caduceus coil like you imagine, it's like counterclockwise wires winded over coil, where entire length of coil, not just the middle. We get active center in the middle of the coils. The secondary coils are connected like in Von Smith device. So one is right-handed, one is left-handed, and they are connected in the center of, in the middle of the length of coil. So on these ends, basically we got cold electricity, which does not burn, does not harm, and does not burn paper if you put it over sparks and stuff like that. And if you put the ferrite inside, you basically what you are making and you are looking for, you are just making these ferrites to sink, like in Muller dynamo coils. Look on latest outposts from sinking coils. You can start to imagine what's going on. So basically then you put the ferrite into this state, you can withdraw power from surroundings, and basically the main goal is to achieve accumulation of energy just in coil, not radiated, not discharged somewhere. Just put it like a capacitor, and then you can put it on the load. And basically if you wind one wind on secondary, you should have high voltage canal, like in our situation it's like 5 kilovolts. So basically you can imagine it's like two Tesla coils connected together, and in the ends of entire length of winding it is already ionizing air, and basically we'll just try to drop voltage, get amperage, and then we just rectify it over two legs with single diodes, and after that you will get basically condensed everything into a capacitor and put it below.
Okay. At the very moment when it was taught to us by these two gentlemen that you see right now on the screen that we have one particle point on the ferrite rod that is put inside the coil that is getting hot, just one place. I start to think about it as the loss of the energy, and Arunas said, well, yes, you're right in it. We're losing the energy, and this energy is dissipating, and it's changed to the heat. So I said, okay, let's do it this way. How about if we stand from the articles that I have placed on our veryunity.com a long time ago, and we just put the insulator in between two horizontally placed rods of the ferrite and try to isolate them and see what is going to be the effect. Immediately.
And if you look on watch wall generators and stuff like that, you can imagine what's going on. So in this active zone, if you put insulator, you just can avoid energy losses in ferrite. And after that, you just have two magnets, north and south, swapping together in high frequency and accelerating pulses, not in like traditional going down pulses. It's basically opposites. So on single phase, when you have impulse on 180 degrees, you have counter impulse, which is basically back in the phase, or in our words, just reactive independent. So you just pulse over on the half phase and get back energy from second half, which is free.
Right. So I was smiling because we were everybody from us was very much quiet. We didn't make a big yo, hooray, and whatsoever. We were just quiet. I mean, quiet.
It is basically a result of long work. I started this 1 year ago, so my studies took a very long time just to realize what's going on. So basically you're converting conventional energy to ion energy and converting it back. And because ion energy affects surroundings, you basically have more energies and what around you. You just harness that energy, put into your needs, and just make it basically work for you, like you are making with water, or like making with wine. Just when basically it's just electricity, and in this case the physical supply same as like water, like gases, everything is same. Basically what Tesla said it was true. So all his patents are talking right about it. Every single patent you read, you will see these words.
So now, right, go ahead. Yeah. Yeah. We're talking all together. Now, so, for everybody who doesn't understand, Aidas is the practical guy who made the device. The Arunas, with his all experience, and me, with my experience, we were trying to implement a certain ideas. And these ideas were tested as we speak, at this very moment, by Aidas. And that one, the guy on the right-hand side.
Just little correction. I'm practical guy too. I have just models, mini Tesla coil and stuff like that.
Oh yeah, right. He's a practical guy, right? He's a practical guy, but the guy who actually is responsible for the physical experimentation at this very moment to confirm our ideas is Aidas. All of the details will be available to the public. 1:35 p.m. of American time. And today is the 13th. Well, October 13. 13 is usually being snapped to not really a lucky number. What is that?
13 is not birthday, but again, it happens when you do not expect. Please try to understand principle behind this, because it's is essential to understand how to make your own devices, how to just harness what you didn't see for a long time. And basically, what we are trying to say is just you need to understand what there is two types of electricity, hot and cold. And we are currently using only hot electricity for more than 100 years. So back to what the Tesla was doing, it was cold electricity and mixing that together. So you just harness basically what's all around you. It's air, so basically activator, which is all about Tesla was saying. So every single stuff goes now, even conventional science, sometimes talking about one like that. So basically, it's just doing approach to quarks and stuff like that.
So guys, look carefully at these faces. We're making history right now, although the every theory has to be proven, and every device that is made has to be replicated.
Basically, what we are trying to say, when you see theory, you need to experiment yourself, prove it or throw it away. Don't trust theories on internet, and basically don't reject it as well. Make approach from scientific side. Just test it every single time on single models. It just costs basically a few bucks to test it. Simple, essential things are just very cheap.
The main idea for our activity was to do not keep it to ourselves.
Yes, it is to enter basically to all people to start working on this field.
No.
To encourage people to start working, to start understanding what's going happening. So when you get principles, when you get some books, for the next generation, it will be more easy to understand what's happening.
We found that only the certain individuals are the ones who have that approach to give it to the people, to make the people happy, to make the humanity happy.
Полной яркости горит лампочка. Ну,
This is the diode that you're going to be using for the high voltage. It's good if you have 80 kilovolts and 1 amp, but you don't have to really have that. You can take 500 volts and connect them in series. You can take 1 kilovolt and connect them in series. And make sure that the current is also in line. So let's say you have a 100 milliamps and you want to have half an amp, then you have to connect them in parallel as well. This information were posted on overunity.com and an energetic forum. So I have a flyback, and the flyback has the tube in here, as you see. This is a diode, but you don't have to use the diode. There is a capacitor that is also connected into that. That would be this capacitor. That's the capacitor. I said this is the capacitor. You have two primaries. One of the primaries connected, this one, is connected to signal generator. Put the sinus in it. I was trying with square. The most recommended one is the ramp. Okay, that's the connection. That what you see in here is a flyback. Now, again, the capacitor that you have connected in here, that's one of the primaries. That's another primary. You don't see any connection between the upper primary and the lower primary. You have 4 transistors in here, and then when you go over there, this is the power supply. So if you wish, you can go this way, or you can directly connect, as I want to do, the signal generated directly to the winding. how to tune that transformer. You gotta understand that you can burn that flyback very quickly, at no problems at all. Make sure that in here you first put 1 volt from the signal generator. Not more than 1 volt. You can put 2 volts, but not much. When you change the frequency of the oscillation, you try to find on the secondary the pure sinus. What you're gonna be seeing mostly is the ringing pattern. But for you, the important thing is to tune to the sinus. No matter what you put on this winding in here, you're gonna get the resonance. At resonance, you're gonna get the even amplitude of sinus. The spark gap, and then try to see on your oscilloscope that how that would look like. So let's go down in here. This is the spark gap. Okay. Now you see the 2 diodes, exactly the Tesla concept, and then you have in this area the tuning capacitor, and then you have on the right hand side it's a bifilar, it's a carousels. On the left hand side you have another winding. Now you see that half of that winding is left free and only half of that is used. The spark gap. This is the original spark gap from the experiment. When you have the resonance, you don't see any sound of it. So that's another factor for you saying that you are at the resonance. And again, your transformer would not get burned. You see that from the middle lead of that coil, you're going down with the diode, you have another capacitor, and then you have another spark gap. This is the spark gap. From that, you are ready to connect to the light bulb. See the 2 arrows in here? That's a light bulb supposed to be connected in here. We have 3 devices. Tektronix 654C oscilloscope. First channel, second channel. Advantis R3267 spectrum analyzer. Input. AWG 2041 generator. You see in here sinus, triangle, square, ramp, and pulse. That's how the main screen looks like. That's how it looks like for triangle. That's for square. That's for ramp. That's for reverse ramp. This is pulse, and we can regulate the pulse width if we want to. Go to duty, and then we can adjust the pulse width. The best way, if we want to use the square wave, is go to 50% of duty. Okay, that would be like that. We can also invert, okay, now normal, invert the ramp. The frequency that shows the resonance. This generator has also offset, polarity, and amplitude, and frequency of oscillation, which in our situation gave us 44.75 of kilohertz. The device on this is our flyback, Russian-made flyback. Now, as you see in here, those are the primaries. Now, of course, you have more primaries in here on this side. That's how the flyback is made. So what I took, I found 3 of the primaries. They're not connected to the rest of the primaries. It's like a separate primary. Then I connected this primary. I took the green and the red wire, and I connected that with the generator. See in here, this is the high voltage, and the other end of the high voltage winding is in here. Only 2 ends. The high voltage is connected through the probe to oscilloscope. C1 is the frequency of output of the flyback. The division of the C1 is 50 volts. Each of the small squares, the black squares, 50 volts. So you see that you have between peak to peak, you have 100 volts. C1, again, period, is showing us how many microseconds is the time of each period. C2 shows us the frequency of lower channel, which is the input to the flyback. This is how the ramp based signal looks like at the range of 31.24 megahertz, just to show you how the ramp looks like. Now what I'm gonna do is switch it to sinus. This is your sinus. Now look at the sinus. And the interesting factor for the sinus is that when I bring it lower, now you see the phase relation. The lower sign is the input of the flyback. The higher one is the output. Now look at the phase relation between them. And also I'm gonna bring it a little bit up. Channel 2 is at 2 volts. That means that each of the black squares is 2 volts. You can see from that the amplitude of lower signal is 2 volts. But because the division of channel 1, which is the white big sign, is 50 volts, then you can simply count. And let me go to the scale, make sure that we know how much we have. This is how the screen of spectrum analyzer looks like when you have a sinus signal. Let's switch for a moment to ramp. You see the ramp on the oscilloscope right now. This is the input, this is the output. Now, I'm gonna tune that knob in here, or the generator. I'm decreasing, I'm gonna change the division. The sinus becomes more distorted and goes to the ring. This is the ringing pattern. Also notice that the amplitude of the output is very small. Now I'm gonna increase that frequency from the oscillation. See, this is your ringing pattern. You see some amplitude change, and then at the very moment I'm gonna let you see it better. It's gonna change to sinus. Okay, almost done, almost there. Hold on. Okay. Now the amplitude. Okay, and we try to find that moment, the highest amplitude. Okay, let's see what we have. This is our sinus. Now again. How do we go with the phase shift? Okay. See? Look, the phase relation. Now, I'm gonna change it to square, and you see that in square the amplitude is much, much higher. So how much higher is the amplitude? We have 2 volts input. Let me go down. You know that we have a division of 50 volts. So now count. That would be 1, 2, 3, 4. 4 times 50. But from peak to peak we have a 4 times 50, which is 200 and 200. We have a 400 volts in here. That's what we have with square. I'm changing it to ramp. I'm changing it to triangle. And I'm changing that to sinus. Okay, sinus is a little bit bigger. Now, you gotta notice one very important factor. No matter what I did, what shape I did, I always have a sinus. The sinus didn't change and the frequency of the resonance didn't change. That's how the screen of the spectrum analyzer look like with sinus. That's triangle. That's square. That is the ramp, that must change. And that is the pulse width, which is very simple. Now, what I'm doing here is I'm changing the division. Okay, 21. Okay, right. Going down, going down, going down, going down. Going down. 7, 6. Okay, now we see something. And I have it on pulse. Let me go to square. Okay. Let me go further down. Okay, this is 1.7 megahertz bandwidth, and I'm changing to sinus. Sinus, you have only a few peaks, and you see here, this is our resonance frequency. I believe so, but this I'm not sure. I don't have my glasses. This is triangle, this is square, this is ramp. Let's go further. Okay, trying to get it narrow. Okay, right. Now, let's go to sinus. This is our sinus, and we should look at 40 something kilohertz. That's it. That's it. This is our resonance frequency. I'm not changing the frequency of oscillation at all. All I'm doing here is just changing the bandwidth of the spectrum analyzer. Now, what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna move the frequency lower. Here's what's happening. Lower. Up. This is what I'm doing with sinus. With your generator now tuned to the resonant frequency, you can apply the normal voltage on it. The frequency of resonance may change by just a little bit. Now I have connected this transformer to another device. Wayne Care Precision Magnetic Analyzer made in England. The model number PMA 32608. This device was made specially for the transformers. So you see the primary of the transformer, you see the secondary, you see the capacitance between them, and you are able to measure everything. Now, let's see the primary. Okay, L and Q for the primary, and you see the value for that. We're changing to torus ratio 0.520. Okay, and that's at 500 kilohertz. We're changing to the RDC for the primary, RDC for the secondary, leakage, primary, leakage secondary, primary and secondary, capacitance, insulation not available. Okay, this was done for 500 megahertz. I'm going to change it to the frequency of resonance. That's at frequency 40 kilohertz. We're going to change to transformer. And let's see what the measurement would be like. L plus Q of primary of the transformer. Q is torus ratio. Now see the torus ratio might show a little bit different way. RC primary, secondary, RDC secondary, leakage for the primary, leakage for the secondary, primary and secondary, and that's capacitance. It's taking a time and it's having a problem to adjust, and the reason for that is because it is close to the resonance.